Hi, this is Dan from Lathrop Insurance. In this challenging insurance environment, Lathrop Insurance can be your beacon in the storm to help you find the coverage you need at the right price. Now, more than ever, you need a partner in the insurance industry that can work with multiple carriers to make sure you have the right coverage at the right price. Lathrop Insurance carries home, auto, and business insurance and can be reached at 401-596-2525. We've been supporting the local community since 1939, and we look forward to working with you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Community Insights, a special Good Friday edition.
Sure.
With Paul Jancarella Jr. And today, it's, I guess it would be more fitting if this was business, if this was like breakfast with Ben or breakfast or any of that stuff.
Right.
But we're going Community Insights, do the thing.
Well, the CI, Community Insights, CI, like the VI back in the day. Yeah, the two-car garage. Got it all. Got it all. So I want to welcome, I would say personally, Brian Holdredge and I go way back. We're great friends. We have to keep things on the rails today, Shannon.
Yes.
So I'm going to try to keep my interactions short for this episode with Brian. He'll be chiming in occasionally, but I wanted to start with you, and I wanted to hear your background, where you're from, for the audience to kind of relate, and what business and restaurant that you own, the Eatery. Tell us a little bit about that as well. So take us the history back. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm just from Westerly, right here in Westerly, my whole life.
Don't make it so vanilla. You don't have to say just Westerly.
Just Westerly,
That's a good thing. Went to the Westerly school systems.
Yes, I did. Yep.
Okay.
High school and.
How did you meet Brian Holdredge? A lot of people have met him on very crazy terms.
Yeah, well, he was pretty crazy when I met him at the Pee Wee football
He still
field
is.
as well.
You know, it's all relative, I think, now between him and I.
Yep.
You know.
Yelling at the kids in the locker room. They all come out. and
When did you
smile.
first meet him? When he was coaching?
Yes.
So Brian was the coach. You were the parent
Yes.
of a player.
Mhm.
And I first met you, I think it was the day after Thanksgiving at Brazen Hen, maybe circa 20. Man, I know. I don't know if it was like 2016, maybe 2015, 2014. I don't know. Around that.
2013.
When
Like that. 2012 when we first met.
Okay, so it may have been 2013 because Beth Federico, Beth Bailey, Sue Gormley, all our classmates. I say I didn't graduate from Westerly, but our friend group, we were there, and you actually gave me a ride home that night.
Mhm.
You know, not that I was that impaired, but I didn't have a car, so
I remember that. We had a tour of the
I
neighborhood.
don't have a car. That's my turn. So I remember that. So we were getting to know each other in that respect. Okay, so then. There was a stint at the yacht club where you worked, and Brian also bartended and worked, and he's in the fire department, all these other things. How did because I personally don't know this. How did the restaurant aspect? I mean, I know timing is everything, and everything's work. We've talked a little bit about this as I've been in the restaurant several times, but tell the audience here what the passion was, how that happened with the Eatery. 55 Beach Street is the location.
Mhm.
It was 55 Beach Street Cafe. How'd that come about?
I have to say that it's always been a passion of mine to own a restaurant.
Okay.
And I worked for Subway for many years, and after
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did that for about 13 years, and I was almost considering buying a Subway.
A franchise,
And,
yeah.
COVID happened, and I'm so glad that I didn't end up doing it.
I know, right.
So then I went off to Electric Boat, and it was one of those things that it's not me at
Wasn't
all.
well, yeah, it
I
didn't
don't
work
sit at
out
the
or
desk,
whatever.
I need to be moving, and I had said to Brian several times that I was very interested in owning my own breakfast place. One, because Westerly is everybody loves breakfast.
Right. Well,
There's
this is
always
more
a
than
line.
breakfast, though.
Yes. There's always a line. There's always a wait, and people will wait.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that he always loved, to take the kids and go to breakfast and talk over eggs, and that's what we would do.
Kaylin's college thesis, what I learned over coffee and eggs.
Kaylin.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
She told me I can't read it. I'll cry. So,
Really?
so I never read it.
Really?
Never read it. No.
I
No.
love it.
But what I learned over coffee and eggs.
Wow, that's something she actually did.
Mhm.
Ah,
I actually wanted to
interesting.
incorporate that in our booths, like name the booths.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
different
yeah.
Things.
But has all of you, because I know there's a mix here, like a Brady Bunch thing
Mhm.
with the offspring. Has all of them been at the restaurant and
Yes.
eating their Brady and everybody?
Yeah,
Because I saw Madison there. I don't know, whenever it was.
the other day.
When Brady comes home, he's there 7 days a week.
Yeah.
The entire week he eats there. Yep.
Right.
Yeah,
So
loves it.
Not because it's free.
oh yeah, get that mic over there. Just pull it towards you. There you go.
There we go.
So we're on the air. So just a quick story about the eatery. I'm talking with Sean Lacey, the town manager, and he's a good friend of mine because we work out together. And he was saying to me, he's like, just I know I'm crazy, but Brian Holdredge and Shan, they own the eatery, right? I said, yeah. Why? He's like, well, I saw Brian in there. He was sitting down with his friends, eating or whatever, and then he came up, started filling my coffee and stuff, and then I was kind of taken back by it. Then he started clearing plates, but then he went back down to eating again. So I said, yes, he's the kind of guy you wouldn't put that past him. You know what I mean? And then he would just start doing those things. You know what I mean?
It's someone else's place.
I said, yes, exactly. You know what I mean? So I said, yes, Brian, no, he is the proprietor. So he actually was probably doing the right thing in that respect. And I asked a staff person, it wasn't Becky, it was Amanda. I said, Amanda, when Brian comes in on the weekends, is it like bedlam? She's like, actually, no, he helps. He really does. Because sometimes guys like us, it's like, no.
He's talking to everybody.
Yes.
Stay
Exactly.
home, please.
Right.
But that is his job to go. I call him my host with the most, and his job is to talk to everybody.
Perfect.
Because
Yeah,
I don't
make
always have the
everybody feel good.
time.
Yeah.
And he goes around and tells everybody about everything we're doing, and
Love it.
perfect.
Okay, so Shannon, this endeavor, was it May of 23 or May of 24?
Around that time, we ended up taking it over in July.
23. Yeah,
23.
23. Okay, so now that you've been in the business, for almost a couple of years, are you still passionate about it?
I am 100%.
No, again, no. By the way, it's for sale.
Nope.
Which is good. Okay, so did we always have the intent to go to the lunch, like breakfast lunch, and now because you're doing fish and chips through the yacht club and everything,
Yep.
which is great.
Mhm.
Was that always the
So
part of
what
the?
I did was, how this all came about is a good friend of mine, Frank Samuelson, is who I
Okay.
went into business with.
Right.
He had came to me at the yacht club, and he actually told me that 55 was up for sale.
Okay. So we planted the seed, so to speak. Okay.
So we were kind of just going back and forth, like maybe, not thinking it's really going to happen. Ends up happening. When we did take over Beach Street, though, I tried to keep it as close to what Steve had. So he had
Steve
breakfast.
Burns, God rest his soul,
Yep.
from 55 Beach Street. Right.
He had breakfast, lunch, and the fish and chips. So I kind of wanted to maintain,
emulate that, so
Yep.
to speak.
and just kind of gave it, a new spin.
You also have, it's not just fried fish, it's baked
We do have the
cod
big
as
fish as
well.
well. Yeah.
Is it just for Lent or is it every Friday?
Every Friday.
Every Friday.
Yep.
Okay. Has that been going well? Is
Amazing.
it really? Okay, great. Well,
Yep.
you know what I mean?
We have
Amen.
it tonight. Tonight's probably going to be one of the busiest nights. So
Okay, so let me ask Brian now, as far like, because we've worked in restaurants growing up and things, but it's so much different when you're the owner now. You know what I mean? Now it's the personnel issues that we have to make sure are taken care of, staffing this and inventory, vendors. What was your take initially as far as this idea of, hey, we got an opportunity here?
It's like, are you nuts?
Yeah.
You got to be out of your mind.
That's how I would have.
You're out of your mind.
Yes.
You're
Right.
insane.
Coming from someone that's out of his mind.
You're right.
Right,
Right.
you
I mean,
know.
the apple, the tree. thing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, no, I was like, this is insane. This is going to be way too much.
Can you hear him? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jeez, I'll get a megaphone. I mean, it's fine. No, I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is crazy.
So when did it start warming up?
I would say it started warming up about 3 months in. About
Okay.
3 months in.
All right. So it took you a little bit.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
really kind of get the feel.
Sure.
what's going on, what we're doing,
And
what's happening.
part of it was, my own schedule was very prohibitive. And between the electric boat, the yacht club, the fire, everything else. And I'm like, you want me to work in a restaurant
Yeah,
too?
no, right.
Like, I can't
He's
clothe
like, I
myself.
can't help you. This is all on you.
It's
You're
all
on your
you or
own.
whatever. And
Yeah.
then after a couple months, I'd help her out or whatever. And of course, in the beginning, it's tough for personnel and
Yeah.
trying to find build a team and everything else. So she's like, can you help me today? And I'm like,
Yeah.
really?
Right. So
Oh my
you kind of edged your way into it. in a
Yeah.
certain respect.
And now, I mean, it's definitely Shannon's show. There's no question.
No,
about
I
it.
understand
But
that, but
I-
you're there
but
as help.
Very much, gonna support her and everything that she needs and anything
Great.
she needs. And
I went to my first function at the yacht club, and I don't know how many years that he was not the bartender. April 6th, there
Oh.
was a Dunn's Corners Fire Department banquet, and it was is it Casey or not-
Carly.
Carly. It was Carly.
Carly,
It
yeah.
wasn't Brian.
that wasn't me.
Mhm.
I was like, wow. I had to
Times are
I had to
changing.
sit down. I was just sitting out at the bar.
Right.
in that respect. Okay, so Shannon, tell the audience, what some of the specialties and what makes the Eatery your restaurant. What are some of the trinkets about it?
Oh, it's a tough question to
Because
say.
I would say the booths. I like the booth
Yeah.
aspect.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So that's
People will wait.
you know,
I had a lady
for a
wait
booth.
over 20 minutes today. She just did not care. It's
And
like-
the other thing is, if my wife and I go out to a restaurant, and there's a booth, and we want a booth, we don't sit on the same side.
I was just going to ask you to sit on the same side.
because I asked her that. She's like, "Oh no, I have them all the time.
All the time.
People sit on the same side of the booth.
Yeah.
You can't do that. That you get arrested."
Well, she's left-handed, tangled up with each other. I'm eating her food. She's eating mine.
That would never happen.
No.
But it does happen. It does happen.
Yeah, I don't know if it's anything specific that,
Like a menu item or anything like that.
I haven't really. Quiche is probably one of the biggest things that I put on there myself. but
Okay.
I stuck to the same menu, really, that 55, because everybody loved it. And
Right.
I
It
just,
wasn't broke. Don't fix
you
it.
Wasn't
know,
broke,
and
yeah.
I'll just add little things here and there, but nothing that's like a specialty of mine
Okay.
as of yet. But we're getting there.
I want to bring up to the audience again, because I've been there, now a number of times. I've been a regular because of a church friend, 97-year-old John O'Connor. God
Mhm.
bless him.
My favorite.
There's a counter. There's also a lunch breakfast counter
Mhm.
that gets regulars as well.
Oh, yeah.
I see Steve Ladone there.
We have
just
about
as-
10 Steves that sit at the counter.
Is that
and it's the
right?
funniest
Oh my
thing.
goodness,
And
that
at
is
one
funny.
one point, there was 5 Steves at the counter.
Oh, at once.
Yeah,
At once,
Because you got Tony Caradillo
yeah.
is there
Yep.
regularly. You know what I mean? But I didn't know there was that many.
Oh, yeah.
Steves.
So
Holy
many
cow.
Steves.
So it's a combination of booths, the bar, and you got the table. So
Yep.
it's diverse in that respect, which is nice. It's
Yep.
quaint. It's it's not too vast and huge. It's I'm not gonna say it's quiet, but it's not it's not noisy.
Right. Yeah.
And
the
it's
acoustics
tiny.
aren't terrible.
Yeah,
in it.
no, it's not. You know what I mean? You don't hear banging and going bananas in that respect.
You really have to love everybody. It's like one of those things
Yeah.
that I do feel like everybody's loved when they go in there. And
Yeah.
it's quiet. It's
It's like a
tiny
Cheers,
and yeah.
and everyone knows your name, so to speak, for the most part.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it work. But what's also good to know is your competitors, so to speak. There's no competitors.
No.
You guys are each creating
Exactly.
your own thing. So whether it be the guy next door at the pantry, who I met, by the way, have you met?
Mhm.
Just
Yeah.
nice guy,
Great guy.
fascinating.
Great guy.
He was a snowboarder.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, what?
Yeah.
He did it competitively. You know what I mean? So, we're all in it together.
Yep.
So we're not looking to out someone, we're looking to help
Exactly.
someone. And I really think with the cooked goose being off the table,
Mhm.
it's really banging down the doors for you guys as far as, to accommodate.
I mean,
Definitely.
there's plenty of
Yeah.
capacity in this town for breakfast.
No,
Plenty.
no, for
I
sure.
mean, you
Yep.
can't say
restaurant in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's plenty of capacity.
Look at downtown Westerly. Just
Right.
walk up the, up the street.
right. Right. Everybody's making a buck, and that's
Yeah.
that's all we can ask for.
That's why I said, like, when I first thought of this idea, it's like everyone loves breakfast.
Yeah.
And it doesn't
Yeah.
matter, because if you're busy at one spot, they'll just go to the next, but maybe next weekend they'll come to me.
So when you say that, is it a breakfast all day? So you come in at 2:00 in the
All day.
afternoon? Okay.
Mhm.
So the breakfast, that's what Steve did later on, that you could do a breakfast menu all day
Mhm.
long.
And then on the weekends, we just do breakfast, no lunch.
Right. No lunch.
Now,
Okay.
how busy is it for breakfast at 2:00 in the afternoon on, say, a Tuesday?
I
Well-
would say that the lunch really has grown big. now.
We are actually done serving at 2.
Okay.
We're done serving at 2, but The that being said, the lunch menu has kicked off.
Sounds like we should do part 2 at the Eatery.
Oh, at the Eatery. Yeah, that might
At-
be something.
If you guys are open, we do
Yeah.
the show at 2:00.
All right,
Yeah.
Betty,
If
you're
you
on.
guys want to,
Yeah, no, right. So that's
to
as it winds down. Great idea.
yeah, we'll come
that's
in
a
at 2
perfect
but
o'clock.
at least keep that in your
Betty,
noggin.
you had the ace, if I remember correctly.
The what?
Didn't you have the ace when you came in?
I did.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
you
remember
did.
that.
I didn't
Yeah.
even know you at the
I
time.
made
You
a
had done a
breakfast
nice
sandwich.
video.
Yeah,
A
he put a nice
sandwich
plug in for us
review
right
of
out of the
that,
gate,
yeah.
like day one. Benny went in there.
Well, that's him. He's been doing it his whole
It was
life.
like
for
he had
crying
I
out loud.
remember the plug. I appreciated it very,
Yeah.
very much, and I even remember what you ate. So photographic
And he's
memory
the
is terrible.
bartender. He remembers what people drink, but hey, that's good.
Yeah, it's a food thing.
For
too.
Yes.
sure. I
And we've
love
also gotten a lot of takeout and come in a few times,
Mhm.
and a lot of takeout that I then don't make videos about, which I always
Yeah.
feel bad about every time I don't make a video when I go to a
Yeah.
restaurant. Antonella Rizzo said, "Hello,
Oh,
Shannon
Antonella
and
Rizzo.
friends for
Hi.
Deja Vu.
Hey.
Our Christmas party with the Eatery goods, so good." Guys,
Wonderful.
She is.
this is
wonderful.
like, I'm so sorry that we have to start to wrap up
That's okay.
this episode, but I definitely want to do a part 2. What do you say?
Yeah, I
Part
think
2
I
on
think
the road?
what's something for you guys to chew on.
Exactly.
It's April now. May end of May, June-ish,
Mhm.
perhaps.
Mhm.
Maybe do an on-site.
I'll be
so
sure.
we-
I'll
can
tell you
kinda
what.
show
July 10th is our anniversary
Yeah, that's
Okay.
a
So,
2-year
our
anniversary.
two-
of
Two-year
the
anniversary
restaurant.
of the restaurant.
Wow,
Listen,
that's
guys,
great.
So,
You tell me when. I'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
At 2.
So
I don't care.
so let's tell our audience
Monday.
plan to tune in the summer
Sure.
for an on-site visit of the
Yeah, I would love
Eatery.
that.
It'll probably be after you shut down or whatever.
Mhm.
And if not, we'll work out the specifics.
We'll come
Yeah.
in at like
Yeah.
1:30,
or whatever.
order something, and then
Perfect.
and then you guys can sit down with us. Hopefully,
Yeah.
That'd be
And,
great.
That would be.
Yeah,
that would be
we'll
perfect.
do lunch and then we'll
Yeah.
we'll wrap it up with
Perfect.
with part 2 because we got to talk to this
Yeah.
animal
Yeah.
And
for
then we
sure
can
as
go
well.
as long as we want, because right now we're running up on
Yeah.
Yeah.
the church services and stuff like
You
that.
don't want to
so-
upset God.
No.
You
No.
don't want to upset God. I've done
Not-
it daily.
Not today. Not today.
Yeah.
Let's keep this-
It's
That's
okay
good.
though. But you,
Shannon, Brian, this is a good segue into what's going to be happening in a couple months.
Perfect.
It'll be great. Thanks for coming here and informing our audience of what's going on.
Thank you
And,
for
I
having
look,
us.
I look, yes, please. And I can't wait to talk about some stories.
The
Oh,
lots
Eatery,
of good
55 Beach Street, and that's the address, not the name. I know it used to be but the Eatery at 55 Beach Street, in Westerly.
Merchants.
Incredible
Square.
Merchant Square Plaza, incredible food. Literally, I mean, there's just nothing bad on the menu. It's all insanely delicious.
Been eating the fruit
Such a
cup
great,
lot.
such a great atmosphere,
Glenn.
and the best people. You guys are amazing. So
They're all right. Let's not get carried away. Yeah, they're not that
All right.
great.
Well,
you know what I mean?
okay, fair. You know them better than I do. You know them better than I do. I think the thing that
too well done.
I think the thing that I'm going to remember the most from this episode is definitely the Chief Lacey story, or the town
for
manager
sure,
Yeah.
Lacey
sure.
story.
Well,
Because you don't know Brian as I know him. You know what I mean? He's always like this.
Well, here's the best part.
You would do that at Burger King for crying out
Mr.
loud.
Lacey showed up at Soupy Fest last week. I said, what are you doing here?
He's
You
not
should be a
Italian.
I said, you should be a corned beef and cabbage festival. What are you doing here?
Brazen hen. He should be. Yeah. Crossing. Maybe he got the wrong street.
I
Go across the
I
street.
think
That's
he
what
gets
it was.
confused.
All right, we got to get our
We
review.
mentioned that a lot on Mondays during roll call. How
All right.
not Italian he and I are.
Wonderful.
I like to say that I have the complexion of mayonnaise. Here. Thank you
Love
guys
it.
so much. Go
Guys,
check out the
thank you.
Eatery. We'll be
Thank you.
back.
Thank you very
Look
much.
forward to next time.
All
And
right.
stay tuned at 3 p.m. Andrew Fiore has Andy Gresh on, big time sports broadcaster. So that should be great. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.